As the world watches a war increasingly fought with evolving strategies and advanced technology, recent Ukrainian drone strikes on Moscow and crucial Russian infrastructure have marked a critical turning point in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The series of attacks over the past weeks has raised significant questions about the trajectory of the war, the resilience of both nations, and the role of global alliances in determining the conflict's eventual outcome. These targeted strikes come as part of Ukraine's deliberate shift to an offensive strategy aimed at destabilizing Russian military operations from within. Since the start of the invasion in 2022, Russia has largely held the upper hand in terms of firepower and territorial control. However, recent Ukrainian strategies, including substantial investment in domestically produced, long-range drones, indicate a recalibrated approach, with Ukraine increasingly carrying out operations that directly impact the Russian mainland. Today's strikes are part of a campaign to reduce Russia's ability to wage war on Ukraine, hitting sites ranging from military bases and fuel depots to airports and manufacturing plants for Russian weaponry. Breaking down the Moscow attack, the most significant drone strike since the invasion began. In one of the most notable moments in recent weeks, Ukrainian drones targeted Moscow itself, a highly secure zone long considered out of reach for Ukrainian forces. The skies over Russia's capital were filled with Ukrainian drones, reportedly numbering more than 80. Russian defense forces scrambled to respond, but the sheer volume of drones overwhelmed the system, forcing officials to redirect flights from Moscow's main airports. This was the most substantial attack on the city since the war began and represents a psychological blow to Russia, undercutting its aura of invulnerability. While Russian defense sources initially claimed that all drones were intercepted without major damage, social media videos and witness reports indicate otherwise. Footage from residents in the Moscow outskirts shows the aftermath of explosions and fires near several residential neighborhoods. Although casualty numbers remain unconfirmed, local news outlets have reported that several people were hospitalized due to smoke inhalation. The Ministry of Defense later acknowledged that 34 drones were intercepted near Moscow, with 20 more over Moscow's suburban regions, where debris from these drones caused collateral damage. For Russia, this attack has shattered a long-standing perception that the Russian capital is impervious to direct assault. By targeting Moscow, Ukraine is sending a clear message that no area is beyond its reach, a statement that echoes powerfully across the geopolitical landscape. Strikes across Russia's military facilities, hitting supply chains and reducing operational capabilities. In addition to Moscow, Ukraine's drone strikes have reached deep into Russia's industrial and military heartlands. A particularly notable strike hit a military base in Bryansk, a region bordering Ukraine. This base is a critical logistics and training center for Russian troops, and the destruction of ammunition depots has been confirmed by both Russian and Ukrainian officials. Bryansk is home to a substantial number of Russian defense manufacturing sites, producing everything from artillery shells to advanced missile systems, including parts for Russia's S-400 and S-300 air defense systems. The strikes disrupted critical military supply chains, forcing Russia to temporarily halt some operations due to damaged infrastructure. The choice to target Bryansk is strategic for Ukraine. This facility supports Russian frontline operations and supplies munitions to forces deployed in Ukraine. By disrupting these supply chains, Ukraine aims to weaken Russia's operational capabilities on the front lines. Moreover, previous drone strikes in Bryansk targeted facilities integral to Russian electronics production, leading to a suspension of activities at factories that produce components for missile guidance systems and other advanced weaponry. If Ukraine continues targeting Russian military manufacturing plants, the long-term impact on Russia's ability to maintain its military operations could be severe. Ukraine's new drone arsenal, pushing boundaries with long-range technology. One of the most surprising aspects of these strikes is Ukraine's ability to reach deep within Russian borders without the use of Western-supplied weaponry. Due to the limitations imposed by Western allies, Ukraine has increased the production of domestically developed drones, some of which have ranges exceeding 500 kilometers. These drones allow Ukraine to conduct long-range strikes independently, reducing its reliance on foreign weaponry and giving it greater flexibility in its targeting options. This shift to self-reliance in long-range drone technology is crucial for Ukraine. By using its own drones, Ukraine bypasses restrictions and concerns over escalation that come with Western-supplied arms. In recent months, Ukrainian engineers have accelerated the development of drones designed for precision strikes, incorporating advanced navigation and targeting technology. The A-22 Flying Fox drone, for example, has been specifically engineered to evade radar systems and deliver targeted payloads. This makes it an ideal tool for Ukraine's strategic strikes on high-value Russian assets, as demonstrated by recent attacks on airfields and industrial facilities. Reports suggest that Ukraine has received covert assistance in advancing its drone technology from several countries sympathetic to its cause. Although unconfirmed, analysts believe that these partners provide technical expertise, training, and raw materials essential to Ukraine's drone manufacturing. The collaboration with Western and NATO-aligned engineers has given Ukraine's military an edge in developing these advanced drones, allowing it to refine and adapt its strategy in real time. Strikes on oil refineries, disrupting Russia's energy infrastructure and supply chains. Another aspect of Ukraine's intensified drone offensive includes targeting Russia's energy sector, specifically its oil refineries and chemical plants. One significant attack occurred in the Sarov Oblast, where drones struck a key oil refinery that supplies large quantities of refined fuel to Russia's military apparatus. This refinery plays an essential role in maintaining Russia's military logistics, and the damage inflicted by Ukrainian drones has led to a temporary halt in operations. Additionally, Ukraine targeted the Alexin chemical plant in Tula Oblast, a facility crucial to the production of ammunition and explosives for Russian forces. Ukrainian drones reportedly set off a massive fire that led to extensive damage, effectively shutting down the facility and disrupting production timelines. By targeting these energy and chemical facilities, Ukraine aims to weaken Russia's defense industry while also raising the cost of the conflict for Russia. The decision to hit these energy sites is calculated. Beyond directly affecting Russia's military supplies, attacks on energy infrastructure could have broader economic implications, as they create fluctuations in local markets and disrupt Russia's export revenues. In some cases, attacks on infrastructure have forced Russian energy companies to reroute oil flows, causing price hikes within Russia. Ukraine's choice to include economic targets in its strategy underscores the multifaceted approach it is taking to undermine Russia's war effort from every possible angle. Targeting naval assets, a new front on the Caspian Sea. In a surprising move, Ukrainian drones recently targeted Russian naval assets on the Caspian Sea. Using domestically developed, long-range drones, Ukrainian forces carried out a strike on the Russian naval base in Kaspiask, damaging 2 ships and causing significant disruption to the base's operations. The Caspian Flotilla, a key element of Russia's maritime power projection, has been used to launch missile strikes on Ukraine, and these recent attacks could limit its future capabilities. This incident highlights the expanded range of Ukraine's military reach. The Caspian Sea is far from Ukraine's border, and the successful strike against naval assets there illustrates the potential of Ukraine's new drone technology. The Kaspiask base hosts ships capable of launching long-range missiles, which have repeatedly targeted Ukrainian cities and infrastructure. By targeting these vessels directly, Ukraine is aiming to deter future strikes on its territory. Global responses: the U.S., NATO, and the question of escalation. The escalation in Ukrainian attacks on Russian soil has drawn varied responses from the international community. While Ukraine's Western allies generally support its right to self-defense, they have expressed cautious concern regarding the possibility of a more extensive conflict. The U.S. and NATO have reiterated their commitment to supporting Ukraine, but have also emphasized that Ukraine should avoid using Western-supplied weapons to strike Russian territory directly. However, Ukraine's decision to rely on domestically produced drones effectively sidesteps this concern, allowing it to maintain support from its allies while continuing its long-range campaigns. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken recently met with NATO leaders to discuss strategies for sustained support, emphasizing the need for coordination as the conflict evolves. The U.S. government has been moving quickly to deliver the remaining military aid packages approved for Ukraine, particularly in light of the upcoming presidential transition. President-elect Donald Trump's prior statements on Ukraine funding have raised uncertainty, leaving many concerned about potential changes in U.S. support. As Ukraine pushes forward with its intensified strategy, the international community's stance on the conflict will be crucial in shaping its outcomes. In the coming months, the conflict is expected to evolve further as both nations adapt to new realities on the battlefield. Ukraine's decision to target critical infrastructure has introduced a new layer of complexity to the war, potentially prolonging it and increasing the cost for both sides. As winter approaches and logistical challenges mount, both Ukraine and Russia will face new tests of resilience and strategy. For now, Ukraine's drone strikes have succeeded in achieving several key objectives: disrupting Russian supply lines, damaging critical infrastructure, and, perhaps most importantly, demonstrating its capability to retaliate effectively. How Russia responds to this new phase of the conflict will play a major role in determining the trajectory of the war in the coming months.